Okay. Kayla, can you give me a thumbs up again if you can see the slideshow? Awesome, thank you. All right, so um, as Morgan mentioned, the topic I'm talking about is creating team culture and developing leadership. So you might think if you're a new coach, there's a lot of you who this is your first call, that um, leadership and team culture is something that you don't need to start thinking about until you have a big team, or you're a diamond coach or an emerald coach. But I would argue that that's not necessarily true. The second that you are thinking about recruiting coaches, the second you have one coach in your downline, you become a leader. And so it's never too early to start thinking about what kind of coaches you want to work with, what the vibe of your team should be, and how that's going to suit you and your coaches, and how to be a good leader for your team and your coaches. So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about me. I'm 22 years old. I am kind of a teacher, as Morgan said. I finished my Bachelor of Education, but I went back to school before I actually ever started teaching. So now I'm taking nutrition at the U of S. My 2-year coach anniversary is next week, actually. So I started coaching when I was 20 years old, and I've been coaching for 2 years. I started coaching because I wanted to help people, and I just knew that I was meant for something more. I remember I joined a challenge group with Morgan, and I was probably like the perfect coach challenger situation. I messaged Morgan. I wanted to join her challenge group. The day she sent me the link, I bought my challenge pack, signed up. I was so excited. And I knew right away that I wanted to become a coach, but I waited a little while before I told her. And she had actually posted that she was hosting a sneak peek. So I messaged her, and I actually hadn't even started my program yet. It hadn't even come in the mail, but I knew it was something that I wanted to do. Um, Growing up, I was always kind of a leader in school. I was the captain of my basketball team, SRC president. I was just always involved in those kinds of things. And that area of my life was kind of missing. I had graduated from high school, and I didn't really have anywhere to let that light shine anymore. And so I was just kind of going day to day. Like, I was working a summer job at the time when I became a coach. And so I was getting up, going to work, coming home. I was taking a summer class, so I would just work on my class, go to the gym, go to bed. And I had no creative outlet. I had um, nowhere to let my leadership potential shine. And so once I started creeping on Morgan and seeing what she was doing, it just looked like she was having so much fun, and I knew it was something that I could be good at. So I jumped on board right away, and I've honestly never looked back since. I'm also a cat mom. Those of you who follow me on Instagram and Snapchat see all my crazy Charlie adventures. He keeps me more busy than a cat should ever keep anyone, but that's the way it is. My team is called Team Freedom Fighters, and I created that name a little while ago. And for my team, it just means that we're working for personal freedom, financial freedom, the freedom to be who we are and be free from judgment, and to help other women find that as well. So that's a little bit about me. So just to dive into the culture and leadership, I truly don't believe that you can have one without the other. And I just have some definitions here. So culture is defined as the way of life of a group of people, the behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept and that are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the next. Leadership is a practical skill encompassing the ability of an individual or team to lead or guide other individuals. So, what you do as a leader is ultimately going to determine the culture of your team. And the culture of your team is going to determine the types of leaders that you produce. So, I truly believe that it's a ripple effect. I would argue that the team culture that I have didn't start with me. It was passed down to me in a way, and then I gave it my own flair. So Lindsay Matway created the Bombshell Dynasty, and she's a strong leader. She created a team culture, and Morgan picked up on that from communication, imitation, what was passed down from Lindsay to her. And in the same way, I learned from Morgan through what she communicates, what she does. And now I get to show that to my team, and the ripple effect will continue, and they will do the same for their teams. So you learn leadership and you learn culture, but you get to make it your own and kind of add your own flair to it. So there's some pictures here of me and parts of my team at some Super Sundays as well. So culture and leadership totally starts with you. In part of that definition, it said the behaviors, beliefs, and values that are passed along from one generation to the next. So this truly comes from your behaviors, beliefs, and values. This is your business behaviors, your personal beliefs, how you treat your team and your business. And so that all starts with you. So you truly have to work on yourself first. I think that my team really started taking off and my business started taking off when I dove headfirst into personal development. The first probably year and a half of my business, I did personal development. I read here and there. I would listen to podcasts. But I was kind of just doing what everyone else was doing. If I saw someone posting about a book, I would go out and read that book. Or if I saw someone posting about a podcast, I would download it and listen to it. And so I was doing personal development, but it wasn't very personal. Once I started to truly look at personal development and really go deep inside myself and figure out what I needed to work on to be a better person and to be a better leader, that is when my business started to thrive because I was thriving personally. So I know you guys have probably heard that you are your business, and when you thrive, your business thrives. So really take a look at yourself and what you need to work on personally and dive into personal development that truly suits you. Always be consistent with the 4 vital behaviors. You can't expect your do anything that you're not doing. And so I have here lead by example, be consistent and organized, and that your team is a result of your leadership. In a call I listened to a little while ago, I can't even remember who it was with, but they were talking about how your team will never exceed what you are doing. So imagine that your coaches have to follow you around for a month. And whatever you did that month, that is what they would continue to do in their businesses. And would you be happy with that? So it kind of is a reality check. Are you living your month and working your business each month the way that you want your coaches to work their businesses? Because if you're not, they know what you're doing and what you're not doing, and they are watching you. You are the example for your team, and if you're not being consistent and organized and leading by example, your coaches are going to follow your suit and they're going to do what you do. So just take that reality check once in a while and say to yourself, if my coaches were following me around and doing exactly what I'm doing, would I be happy with that? So you've probably heard this too, to spend 80% of your time on your business and 20% helping your coaches. I know anyone who's probably a diamond or above coach has got caught up in spending a lot of time trying to push and motivate and provide resources and do all those things. And then your own business kind of slides and you kind of forget about it. So never forget about your own business, because it goes back to leading by example. And that comes down to Success Club, recruiting, inviting. They call it living in the trenches. So imagine that you're in a trench with your coaches and you're leading them through obstacles, and those obstacles are Success Club, recruiting, inviting. And if you're not doing those things, your coaches aren't going to make it through those things either. So make sure that you're always being consistent with your own business, and then spending the other 20% helping your coaches and developing resources and things like that. And this just shows your coaches that you're dedicated to your own business and to yourself, and that they can be dedicated to their business. But then on the other side of that, also show them that you're dedicated to them and helping them succeed. And that can be as little as posting a video in your team page every once in a while, or sending personal invites, personal messages to your coaches once in a while, just to check in and see what they're doing. And always believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, your coaches will feel that and they won't believe in themselves. So just an example, this summer, I'm actually full-time coaching. I didn't get a summer job, so I'm working my business full-time. And so 80% of my day, I spend my entire morning on my workout, my personal development, making my to-do list, getting myself ready and organized. And then I dive into the 4 vital behaviors. So inviting, making sure I'm being proof of the product, setting up my posts for the day, those kinds of things. And the time I spend checking in with my team is actually quite small. So that's just even sharing with them what I'm doing for personal development, or making a quick training video, or sharing when my challenge group is starting, or things like that. So those things don't take too long. I don't spend a whole ton of time doing those kinds of things. So like I said, leadership starts before you even have a team to lead. And it comes down to attracting like-minded coaches. So when I first became a coach, I just wanted to sign up everyone as a coach. And I had a lot of coaches join my team who didn't necessarily click with me. Our personalities were totally different. Our styles were totally different. Our interests were different. And that was okay. It helped me get started and build that initial team. But I'll be honest with you, every single one of those coaches has since quit. And it didn't come until I started recruiting for quality and recruiting like-minded people, that my team really started to flourish. So always recruit for quality, not quantity. I would honestly rather recruit 4 solid coaches a month who are like me, who get it, who are gonna be consistent and stick with it, rather than 10 or 15 coaches who are totally different than me and aren't going to do anything and will quit in a few months. So what I try to do is make my post as if I'm talking to the old me. So the me a few months before I found coaching, the me before I lost weight and became comfortable with myself, the me before I found all these new friends in this community and those kinds of things. So that girl who was me a few months before I became a coach, those are the people that I want to be working with and that I want to help, because I know they have the potential to be like me. And it sounds kind of creepy, like we're not creating robots here, but you just click with the people who are like you. So make sure you're being you when you're posting. For a long time, I wasn't really necessarily my true self as a coach. And that just means that I was following so many coaches on Facebook and Instagram and all these places that their posts were influencing what I was posting. So I would see something and I would like it. And so then I would go create something similar, not even necessarily thinking about it, but just doing it that way. And it wasn't until I kind of shut out all those distractions and unfollowed a lot of other coaches and just really focused on who I am and what message I want to share. And that's when I started recruiting coaches who were like me and who wanted to work the business like me. So if you haven't done this activity, I encourage you to do it later. Take out a piece of paper and write down all the qualities that you're looking for in an ideal coach. And you can go as far as giving this person a name, finding a picture, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to help people who don't look like this person, or who don't have all the qualities of this person, but it just helps you when you're posting. So when you're making a post, think back to that person that you're wanting to attract and post as if you're talking to that person. And that has been really huge for me too. I know you guys have probably heard that your vibe attracts your tribe. So just always be yourself, because that will attract like-minded challengers to you who will in turn turn into coaches. And that doesn't mean all your coaches will come from challengers, but a large part of my team of coaches were challengers. And all of my challengers, it's weird. I used to have like a really wide array of challengers, and now I find they're all kind of similar to me. Like they used to be athletes. They don't really have a ton of weight to lose, but just kind of don't have anything anymore after high school has ended and need to get back into shape and aren't really feeling comfortable and happy. And so I know I'm attracting those people because that's the vibe that I'm putting out. So if you haven't done that activity, I encourage you to do so. Okay, this was an absolute game changer for me. So helping your new coaches getting started right. So you've now attracted these people to you who are like you, who you want to work with, but now you need to know what to do with them to get them started right so that they are started off on the right foot and can take off on their own. So I always welcome new coaches into my team page, show them how to access the team training, schedule a getting started call with them, and get them to answer some goal setting questions. Find out what their why is so that if they ever have a point where they maybe want to step away from coaching, or they're not really sure why they're coaching or things like that, you can remind them of what their why is. Oops. I think I ended my slideshow. There we go. And then help them set their first goals. So tell them about Success Club. Tell them how to reach Emerald. Help them run their first challenge group. I help all my coaches run their first challenge group so that they don't have to do it on their own. Check in with them and just make an effort to get to know them, invest in them, and show them that you care. And then help them duplicate this. So I always sit in on my coaches' first getting started right call. So when they're starting to recruit coaches to their team, I'm there to help them with those first few calls and getting those first few coaches started right until they can kind of get on their own feet and find their own. And that just comes down to duplication and duplicating that leadership. So I actually asked my team to provide me with some examples of how they feel that my leadership has been good for our team and what they like about our team culture. And one of the things they mentioned was the resources that I provide for them. So I make a training video every Wednesday. Every Thursday morning, I post a Success Club update. So that goes back to consistency. I'll make group chats with them. So if there's a cluster of coaches who are pushing for the same goal, whether that's Emerald or Diamond or a rung on the leadership ladder, I'll create a group chat with them where I can provide them with resources or some mentorship or things like that. My success partners and I run blitz groups for our coaches, giving them training groups, and then just sharing. I share a lot with my team, whether it's just a random thought that I have or an inspiring moment or what videos I'm watching during the day, my successes, my failures, things like that. So just showing them what my journey looks like, and not only the good parts, but the bad parts too, so that they're comfortable coming to me and they know that I'm willing to share with them. And you've probably heard this too. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you have to remember you can never set goals for your coaches. When I first became a coach, I had these cluster of coaches, like I said, who weren't really like me. Their goals were different. They didn't really want the same things as me. And here I was setting goals for them. So I was messaging them and giving them dates, goal dates for hitting Emerald, and asking them when their goal dates were to hit Emerald. But I never asked them if that was actually their goal. So work to inspire everyone, but match the pace of your coaches. And always remember, you can't set goals for people. You can only help them connect to their why. So I try really hard not to tell my coaches what they should be doing and what their next step should be. I try to ask them first what their goals are, what their main goals are, and helping them reach those goals rather than setting them for them. Be inclusive. This is a huge part of my team, and it's honestly like a family. We include everyone. And that comes down to recognizing people for different things. So Success Club is not the only thing you can recognize people for. There's rank advancement, there's maybe they hit Success Club for the first time, or they sold their first challenge pack, or they made a really awesome post on Facebook, or they've been going out of their comfort zone. You can recognize coaches for every different thing. And this might not be a super common thing, but don't be afraid to work with your downline. I know a lot of people think that you should only work with your personally sponsored coaches, and then they should work with their personally sponsored coaches. But what I try to do is create depth in my downline. So my coaches know that there's the potential that I might reach out to their coaches and their coaches' coaches. And if I have an opportunity, I never just offer it to my personally sponsored coaches. I always extend the invite to my entire team, because I would rather work with coaches who are 3 levels down in my downline, who are running and working to make this happen, than personally sponsored coaches who aren't really running. So what I did recently was I ran a report that showed me who the top 20% of my downline were, and provided them with a mentorship program to work with me. So that it was 10 coaches. And so I told them, you're the top 10 coaches on this team. And they weren't just my personally sponsored. They were a few levels deep in my downline, some of them. So don't be afraid to reach out and work with those people who aren't necessarily your personally sponsored coaches. Work to foster relationships. I always go into my team and my conversations with my team as friends first, business second. And that doesn't mean like we're all BFFs and we hang out every day and go for coffee and the business is kind of just on the side. It just means caring about who they are, what they want, what their goals are, what they want for their business, and just showing that you care, and that you're there to be a friend, not just a mentor. I don't want to be anyone's boss. I don't want to just be a mentor. I want to be an inspiration and someone who can be there as a friend if someone needs. And so I work hard to make sure my team knows that. And again, like I said, share a lot with your team and ask them for their opinion. For example, when I was creating my team name, I showed my team what I was thinking. I gave them the team name, the logo, and I asked them, what does this mean to you guys? And then that's how I created the announcement post, was using all of their opinions of what a freedom fighter is. Or for this call, I asked them, what do you like about our team culture and my leadership? And then I used their ideas to put this presentation together. So just always be including everyone and finding ways to hear out their opinions. And that just creates an open line of communication so that they'll always feel comfortable coming to you and sharing things with you. Always be the light. So stay positive, lift your coaches up, recognize them, send them inspiring messages, believe in them no matter what, even when they don't believe in themselves, and when they're maybe not necessarily doing the things they are supposed to be doing, or maybe they drift away from their business. Show them that you believe in them and that you know they can do it. And another example is like, if someone's being negative or things like that. I have a message here. I need to get rid of it. Okay. Sorry, I'll continue. If someone's being negative or maybe has a complaint or something like that, it's up to you to be that positive light and shed a positive like vibe or attitude on the situation. So maybe something happens and a person is upset with coach relations. It's up to you as the leader to show them the positive side of it and create that vibe, because otherwise it's just going to be a downward spiral of negativity, and you don't want your culture to be like that. So you need to lead the pack if you're going to be a leader. So this means educating yourself about Beachbody, the products, how to use your Coach Online Office, know what's happening in the coach network and with the company, and share that knowledge with your team. One of the things that some of my coaches mentioned when I asked them what they liked about my leadership was that they can tell I never stop learning. So every day I'm learning something new. And the reason why they know that is because I share with them what I'm doing for personal development, what videos I'm watching, what calls I'm attending, things like that. So never stop learning and never stop sharing those things with your team. So I have a little call to action for you. So your team will never exceed your leadership. They follow what you do. So really take a reality check. Are you walking the walk and leading by example? Your team culture is created by what you do. Are you doing the activities that you want your team to be doing? And are you showing them what you're doing? Are you setting them up for success, believing in them, and being there for them? And then I would further extend this to, is it duplicatable? Is what you're doing possible for your coaches to do? And are you showing them how to continue on and how to become a leader? And so that is pretty much all I have. But a lot of people would say that leadership is something you're just born with, or a skill that you just have or you don't have. I think that we are all predetermined to be leaders because we're here. You wouldn't have jumped at this opportunity and said yes if you weren't a leader. And so leadership is that fire inside that says, I'm meant for something more. I'm not meant to just wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV on the couch, and go to bed. It's that desire to make a difference and really help people and change lives. And I know you all have that because you're here. So it takes taking that drive and that fire and that passion and learning the skills and really applying them. So leadership is predetermined, but we all have that. And so now it just takes taking that fire and learning the skills and applying them and making sure that your team knows how to do that too. So that's all I have. If anyone has questions, you can unmute yourself.
Totally. Well, this was so good. I even had to go upgrade my Zoom so we could finish.
I was trying to talk so fast. I saw there was 5 minutes left. I was like, okay, I gotta get this done.
I started early because we had so many new people. I'm like, I want to make sure I give them time to figure out Zoom and get on. And then I'm like, no, we can't end this like rushed. So I went and upgraded it really quick. That was just unreal. I feel like that was a call that hit so many things I wish I would have known sooner. So I think it's a treat for a lot of people that are newer coaches to hear that. But yeah, we can let's spend 5 minutes. If anybody's got something they'd like to ask Rebecca, I'll just give them the power to unmute themselves here.
Or just like comments are good too.
Oh yeah, sure. If they just want to type it in, she can read it and answer it. Yeah, that might work better because unmuting sometimes gets complicated. I have I was gonna recap, and then I've got all these sticky notes, and I'm like, no, I've got too much information now. It might take people a little bit to type any questions or comments or anything. I know I'm a slower typer.
Just reading Aaron's comment. But yeah, it's never too early to start just even thinking about what you want your team to look like and what you want your vibe to be. Because I didn't think about that until 6 months ago. And that's when my team boomed and my business boomed. And I'm like, what if I would have thought of that 2 years ago and started planning what I wanted my team to look like? But Virginia, do you do getting started right calls with every new coach? So I give all my new coaches that pick your path graphic, and if they say hobby coach or business coach, then yes, I schedule a getting started right call with them. It's nothing crazy. It's 10-20 minutes just to talk a little bit, and they get to see my face and I get to hear what their goals are and just what they want. And then if they're a discount coach and that's all they really want, I just tell them, if you ever feel the desire to take this further, just message me and we can set up a call and talk about how to get started. Yeah. Um, I know at the beginning, other options. What do you mean other options?
I think that's when I had mentioned we were deciding between like Zoom, YouTube
Oh,
Live, um, Facebook Live.
yeah.
Like,
Um, Sorry, I'm just reading this. COO is Coach Online Office and GSR is Getting Started Right. Do you have a tracker for your coaches and their goals, etc.? And what do you use? I am I'm like the queen of tracking, but I don't really track my coaches and their goals. I have a really good memory, and so I kind of just like remember conversations. Obviously, when my team gets bigger, that might become a problem for me. But I also like when I have their getting started right call, I have them answer a series of like 10 questions and I make notes about them. So I have all those notes that I can look back at, but I don't have a really solid tracking system for that. Paige is mentioning that she has trouble getting people to be active in the team page. I honestly posted in my team page for probably a solid year with no real engagement, maybe like a comment or two. And so just be consistent with it. It just takes getting like 3 or 4 people who click together and helping them form that relationship, and then they start interacting with each other and commenting on each other's comments and tagging each other to motivate one another. And I think what helped me was having even group chats and getting people together in person at like Super Sundays and things like that, just to help foster those relationships a little bit. um,
I think it takes a lot of time for people to feel like comfortable too. Do you find like they just like people watched you to join like your challenge group or coaching? It's like they kind of got to watch the team page and like get the vibe before they feel confident like commenting or sharing, right?
yeah. And I think too, once I had a few coaches who rank advanced to Emerald, and then they had their own coaches in the team page, then they wanted to be more active to show their coaches that they're doing the behaviors, and then they would start tagging their coaches. And it does take a lot of time and just getting those people who click together, really. Um, I think that's it. Does anyone else have any questions?
I'm just looking at all my notes.
I feel like I'm gonna have to re-listen to this because I'm like, I don't even know what I said in there.
I honestly just think it was perfect. And like I said, I've said it at the start, I think you were the perfect person to, yes, it's recorded. I'll upload it tonight, overnight, and I'll post in the morning. But Rebecca, you were like the perfect person to cover this topic because I think right from the start, you did the behaviors. Like you said, you didn't have a team yet, but it's almost like you acted like you did. Like you weren't necessarily doing the behaviors to grow your own business. You're like, if I want my coaches to hit Success Club, if I want my coaches to have a positive outlook on this and, you know, focus on themselves, and then I have to do it too. And you did that long before you even had your own coaches. So then it was just more natural once they came into play.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, don't wait until you feel ready or like you feel like, okay, now I have a team. Now I can start leading. The day I signed up as a coach, I started posting 3 times a day on Facebook. I did not feel ready. I did not feel comfortable, but I knew if I don't start now, I'm never going to. So the day I signed up, I started posting 3 times a day on Facebook. The day I had one coach, or before I even had a coach, I acted like I had a team. And then when I was pushing for diamond, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't going diamond. And the second I started acting like a diamond, then I rank advanced to diamond. So yeah, that's so true. Don't wait till you're ready. Melissa had a question asking about recruiting for quality over quantity. What if you're trying to reach a deadline? Um, I guess that's a little bit different. When I was pushing for diamond, I mean, I guess, yeah, you're just trying to fill those spots, but you can never count on those like 8 coaches to hold you, right? So you're just always wanting to attract those people who are going to stick it out with you. And I had an almost diamond coach quit I like a year into her business, and then I fell from diamond. And if it wasn't for those people that I had recruited that were really in it, I would have stayed at emerald for a really long time. But I had a coach who was really in it, and I was able to tell her what was going on. And then she pulled up her socks and went emerald the next week because she knew that was something that I needed, and she was willing to put in the effort. So yeah, deadlines are different, but
I think there's always seasons of your business too, right? Yeah. Like, do you find, you know, maybe for like a certain push, that's a different season and maybe you behave slightly differently and your behaviors change a bit versus a different season in your business too.
And I mean, even if you're trying to fill 5 coach spots, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out and invite every single person you know. You can still be selective and invite the people who are going to fit in with your vibe and who you think are similar to you and who you'll work well with. Even when I'm pushing really hard, say I want to recruit 5 coaches, I still make that list of people who I think fit my ideal coach description, and those are the people that I invite in bulk. So it still comes down to just who you want to attract.
Rebecca, do you have your PowerPoint on Google Drive? Is there a link I could maybe share with them for the slides, or is it on actual PowerPoint?
It's on PowerPoint, but I can upload them to a Google something.
Yeah, whatever's easiest, because I'll upload the video tonight, but even if they want the slides to get started on the activities tonight, at least they would have them.
Yeah, I can do that and send it to you.
Okay, super. Or even like post it below your graphic in the team pages, and then they can share it with their team and all that jazz. But we'll wrap up. We never want to keep you for all night long. We know you have work to do, but I just want to thank Rebecca for taking the time to make this PowerPoint to share your knowledge with us. Like I said, this is an area you're very strong in, and I really appreciate that. I think vibe and culture is a big, big, big part of our team. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you all of you for joining us. We had over 40 people on this call, which is amazing. So thank you for making your business a priority and for learning. And we'll get the recording up. We'll get you the slides. And thank you again, Rebecca. We'll see you all later.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for being here.